Hello, everybody, and welcome to the last Friday Market Insights from Genus before the summer break. We will be returning in September, so don't fear. So I am Grant Conroy, Portfolio Manager and Partner with Genus, and with me today is the Macroeconomics and Market Guru from Genus, Mr. Justin Hahn. Let's jump straight into this, and can you tell us a little bit about what happened this week?
Yeah, this week was quite a quiet week for the markets. In terms of economic news, it was also quite quiet. A lot of the focus was on the Fed speak, with all the participants coming out and giving their input on last week's meeting, as well as more focus on the infrastructure bill, with more hopes that there will be a bipartisan compromise sometime this summer. In terms of actual markets, we saw relatively low volatility as well, as markets slowly crept up above new highs, but low volatility overall. The biggest moves were actually in the commodities. After last week's correction, we saw a lot of them rebound this week, with copper, lumber, and oil all moving higher this week.
That's great. And what changes did we make to the portfolios, if any?
Yeah, after last week's moves that Wayne talked about, we're happy where we're at right now, and currently we believe we're positioned well going into the summer. We'll still maintain our current positions for now, with while waiting on our models and the signals coming out later next week, and we'll make it some other moves if necessary. But a lot of the markets and economic data coming out has been relatively flat, so we don't expect too much movement.
And it tends to quieten down a little bit for the summer months anyway. Do you think the market is factoring in a few years of COVID before the economy really gets open and starts humming again, or has it gone and it's just not relevant anymore?
Yeah, so we don't think that the market's pricing in any COVID impacts, and we think that it stopped pricing it in during when the vaccine news hit. We saw a giant surge in November and December, but it may be saying that there is going to take a bit more time to heal fully and fully recover within the economy.
Right. So, and I know the old sort of phrase is buy the rumor, sell the fact. And I guess when the vaccine started, everyone planned for this. We had that move, and maybe now that's why we're getting a bit of a pause in the market. And the last few years, there's been a lot of talk between value and growth, and especially last year, that was a big topic. Can you just explain what they are and how we're positioned currently for that?
Yeah, so value stocks are companies that are generally trading lower than their perceived value, generally on a price to earnings basis. And the lower they are, the cheaper they look. These names obviously change throughout the year, but right now they're more of the COVID losers that we saw, more of the economic sensitive names, and the ones that were impacted the most during the COVID crisis last year. But and on the other hand, growth stocks are more traded higher on a price to earnings basis, because people are buying ahead of the future growth potential that they have. And usually these companies are those big high flying tech companies that have done well. And the fact that they have done well has made their valuations be much more expensive than they were. Right now, we still believe that in the longer term, that the value stocks do have more room to run, and will continue this trend in the longer term. But in the shorter term, we have reduced it slightly due to some of the news coming out with the Fed speak and whatnot, helping out the tech stocks, seeing as they will hold rates at least until 2023 for the foreseeable future there.
Yeah, and talking of the Fed, I mean, it does seem a lot of what happened this week has been around that. And Powell spoke this week. Why is he more important than the other Fed speakers? And what was his message basically this week?
Yeah, Fed Powell's remarks are often more important, as his views represent the consensus view of the whole US Federal Reserve rather than one individual member. This is more important as it's a better indicator on what we can expect going forward in terms of policy and what they're thinking in terms of inflation and US growth. His view has been fairly consistent in that inflation is still transitory, but they do expect it to rise, as I mentioned earlier, for the rest of this year, but still see inflation at the 2% target during next year and the longer term target as well. This also provides a little bit of support that the economic growth is going well and is gaining steam a lot faster than people anticipated.
Right. Okay. Well, on that note, that it's gaining steam, and this is the last recap till after the summer, so the next few months. So I'm going to give you a little pop quiz here, and if you can tell me what levels the following are going to be when we come back in September. So first one would be the TSX. Where do you think that'll be?
I think that the TSX will be around 2,700.
Okay, so that's slightly higher from where we are now?
Yeah, slightly higher. I think we'll still continue to inch higher slowly. Again, like you mentioned, the summertime is usually quite quiet for the markets, low volatility. So we think that it'll just slowly inch higher for the next couple of months.
Okay, and then US 10-year yields?
Yeah, we think that the US 10-year yields will still remain range bound where it's at between 145 and 160. So somewhere in the middle around 155.
Okay, S&P 500.
Similar to the TSX, we think that's going to inch higher, somewhere around the 4350 mark there.
Okay, and then finally, something that's close to everyone's hearts, as maybe we can be traveling by September, the US Canadian dollar exchange rate.
Yeah, so for that one, we still think in the longer term it does have a little bit more strength. We saw a little bit of a decline there during the last couple of weeks, but it has come back. So we think somewhere around the mid-range there as well, around 81.5 cents.
Okay, so if we're buying US dollars, we should wait maybe until September rather than do it now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now your predictions are memorialized forever on this recording, so we'll be holding you to those and coming back in September to revisit. Well, thanks for that, Justin. And all that's left is for us to say have a great summer, and we will see you in September. Enjoy the summer.
Enjoy the summer, everyone.